ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Victory Wednesday. Got a lot to talk about. ECU baseball has won 5 games in a row. They hold off Duke. Electric start from Ryan Towers. And then it gets interesting late. We'll break it all down. Pirates still winning 8-6. They've won 5 consecutive in-state games. 5 overall. They're now 21-12-1 on the season. And we'll break that down. We'll talk a little bit of everything outside of ECU as well. We may touch on some spring football. We also got our guy James Giglio in studio, so we're going to talk some NBA, MLB, and a little bit of everything with Giglio as he joins us. How you doing, James?
I'm doing good. I can't hear what you're saying.
Is it too loud still?
No, it's good now. I was just joking.
Okay.
We got our ears blown out.
Yeah.
But
it was we had the volume turned way too high in our eardrums to start the show, but we're fine now.
That's good now, yeah.
We've got Philip Pilkington behind the glass. He is fresh off an overtime thriller in the Lenovo Center. His Boston Bruins lose to the Canes 6-5, but it was a great game, Philip. So how was that experience?
It was good. Sorry about your eardrums. I should have tested that. Michael's in here. Michael, did you have some old guests in there? They said the earpieces were a little high. Did you have some Henry's friends in here as guests? It was Henry today. That's it. Henry had the earpieces on. It's on me to check them, but yeah, too much KC in the Sunshine Band is what Michael says. I think it's too many times sitting courtside inside the Dean Smith Center with all the, no, I'm kidding. It's a wine and cheese crowd. You don't have to have your earphones up loud for that. Of course, he called plenty of games in Cameron as well, so that's maybe where it's from. Anyways, no, it was good. Had a good time with Wags hanging out. It was, neither team I thought really deserved 2 points in that one. Boston was sloppy, let up some bad goals. Carolina just kind of looked like they were going through the motions out there and just also let up some bad goals. So one team was going to find a way to get 2 points. I'm glad Boston found one because they honestly didn't even deserve the one.
And we're getting closer to NHL, NBA playoffs, so we'll discuss that maybe the second half of the show. ECU, again, wins it 8-6. We will break this down and dive into it as Pirates next go to Tulane this weekend, but they are now 21-12-1, top 30 in the RPI. Back where they need to be. And last night, we got a lot more than we, I think, ever expected from Ryan Towers, James. 5 2/3, no hit innings. He ends up getting the win. We can talk about what happened late, but 2 runs, both of them were unearned after an error in the 6th inning. A tough play for Lashley. Could not quite make the throw to get a speedy runner. They charge it as an error. He still had the no-hitter going at the time. Strikes out 5, walks 3. Strike zone made 0 sense throughout the entire night, and I thought he did a good job of working through that. 82 pitches, so that's why he was taken out. He's coming off arm surgery. He had not thrown more than 71 pitches all season, so 82. They end up taking him out in the 6th with one of Duke's best right-handers coming in. But Towers last night, James, was I termed it as electric, and I think that's a fair statement based on what I saw.
Yeah, he was definitely the star of the show, no-hitter through 5, like you said, is always going to be worth recognizing. He's someone who has, I guess, kind of struggled throughout this year, and if he can do this, or even a glimpse of this in every one of his appearances, he'll be very useful in the midweek and on the weekends because right now, ECU is still in search of some strong arms in the midweek. And you said electric. I think that's a good way to describe it. Ryan Towers is someone with an electric personality, and he's someone a lot of guys like talking to him. He's a guy that I think brings a lot of good juice that ECU needs right now, just personality-wise.
Yeah, after the game, he had an awesome line where, he admitted, hey, I threw a yes hitter last time out at UTSA. Where he faced 5 batters, gave up 5 hits, did not record an out. So he gave up a hit every batter, which makes it a yes hitter. Obviously did not record a hit given up at all yesterday across his mini batters faced over the 5 2/3. And the thing about Towers is to look at his line. He's now made, in his last 4 midweek starts, he has not allowed an earned run. He's thrown He made a short start at UNCW where he went 1 inning, gave it 1 hit. Then Old Dominion, 4 shutout frames against the Monarchs. Elon the next week, 5 shutout frames. And then Duke, 5 2/3. So that's 15 2/3 innings of shutout baseball as a midweek starter. Now, obviously, you had the UAB game. He pitched out of the bullpen, just didn't seem super comfortable there. Gave up 2 runs in the third. And then the UTSA, he threw 13 pitches. It just happened so quick. So
The yes hitter.
the yes hitter. If you can't take it away, but if his numbers on the season still aren't great, he's 3-1 with a 6.05 ERA. But if you just look at what he's done in 4 of his last 6 outings, he's proven to be a dependable starter at this point outside of the UTSA game.
Yeah, there's been highs and lows, and you mentioned UTSA. I think he had some early starts also where he was struggling as well. But like I said, if he's going to show any sort of glimpse of what he did last night consistently and what he has been showing and his good appearances, he can really elevate himself in the rotation for ECU.
Here's a question for you guys. Towers, do you leave him in this midweek role, just give him the success, or do you give him another shot on the weekend? Obviously, he probably can't throw this weekend, but you just leave him for the state game next week and go from there?
Right now, I wouldn't touch it. I would just leave him in the midweek like he has been doing well. Because, like we said, these weekend, we could break it down. You compare it to weekend and midweek. He's probably doing a lot better his stats are probably a lot better in the midweek than they are weekend. Not probably, they are. So I would leave him. I wouldn't touch it. I would leave it how it is.
And then also, like you said, he wouldn't be available this weekend. So you skip him in the midweek next week. Then you're bringing him in the following week. So he goes how many ever days without pitching? And look, we want to finish well in the conference. Yeah, we want to win these games. But when you look at the RPI side of things with Duke, and I know they're done, obviously, but 2 games against State, Scott Campbell, you got to win these midweeks too. And I think sometimes if you can eat more innings in the midweek, maybe it's even a little more important than eating innings on the weekend, because you kind of want to have everybody available for the weekend. The last thing you want to do is burn dudes in the midweek. And if he's the one guy who's not hot, it's a bold take to say leave him off the weekend roster. But if he really is your midweek guy and he's throwing that many innings, you can honestly just leave him off the 30-man roster, and then you've got a whole nother pitcher, and then you technically haven't burned any arms for the weekend.
And he's a veteran of college baseball, and some of these midweek games, like last night, it was a good crowd. It wasn't a great crowd, but you had 4,900 people there that paid to be there. I don't know how many people actually showed up as far as butts and seats. You were in the jungle. There's a ton of students there.
The jungle was absolutely packed. That was only the second time I texted you. It was the second time I've ever sat in the jungle. So it was cool to see it from that perspective. But yeah, there was a ton of students out there, especially at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and point being, he doesn't seem scared of pitching in that big stage at home. He feels very comfortable watching him pitch at Clark LeClaire.
And I think his personality fits that as well.
I think so. And so next week, the NC State game is going to be packed. And then he would probably have to turn around and pitch at State in a couple weeks. So I kind of like the idea of leaving him.
Which could also be a good environment at State, yeah.
And so, and then if he continues to pitch well, then you get to the conference tournament. You have another starter, and the conference tournament typically starts. I don't know what it is this year with the new format, but it starts earlier in the week. I don't know the exact dates given all the seeding. But you have a viable second starter that can throw almost at any time going into the conference tournament and obviously in a regional. So I kind of like the idea of just leaving him where he is for now.
When Steven, I'm not 100% sure the days either, but you get that top 2 seed, you're probably not pitching until Thursday. You could arguably start him game 1 Thursday, I think it is, and then you start Norby Friday. So you're not moving Norby up a day, and then, you hope by then GVK's back, and then you're just kind of piecing together the last game or two.
Yeah, so something that the staff can consider, and one of those things that in a tough pitching situation right now with all the injuries, at least gives them another option. Spencer in the chat says wanted to move up Towers to the weekend after he gave us 5 no-run innings against Elon, but he proved last night for the rest of this season he's comfortable in that midweek role. Kenny Crowlin says good win, but tore my nerves up for sure. So yeah, I tweeted somewhat sarcastically that was unnecessarily dramatic on ECU's part, but they get the win. So things got interesting late. James, Ethan Rose comes in, who was fantastic against Duke and Durham. It was pretty obvious he just didn't have it. He was not executing his pitches at all from pitch 1, ends up giving up the bloop single, which was tough for the first hit. Whitaker couldn't make the play, made a great effort, and then 2 more hits after that. And then all of a sudden, I guess you didn't technically see any of this because you went somewhere and you came back, and it was It was a game again.
No, well, so the story was it was 7-0. It was a no. We were throwing a no hitter, and I'm like, all right, I think this is a safe time to go use the bathroom. I go to use the bathroom, and in the jungle, there's all those porta potties in the line, but the line wasn't that long, and despite that there being that many students there and people really in the jungle, I feel like I wasn't in the line that long. I do my business in the porta potty. I come out, it's 7-5. It's not like it was 7-0. We had all these hits given up. We had a no hitter, and then I come back, it was 7-5. I was like, what could have possibly happened in the 15 minutes that I was gone? And I guess Ethan Rose just didn't have it, like you said. But yeah, it was like, what in the world?
He went hit by pitch, single, double, single, and 2 of those hits. Allowed 2 runs to score. Working. They did bring in Joseph Webb, as he prefers to be called, and he ends up going an inning and a third, 18 pitches, 1 strikeout, 4 batters faced, retired all 4 batters, and then Sean Jenkins. I guess Sean Jenkins just kind of likes pitching in jams because I feel like his stuff is electric, but he almost he gives up a walk or hit and then he locks in.
Yeah, I think he thrives on that. I know it's weird.
And I did notice Duke was sitting on his slider pretty good. They had a good plan. They were just kind of slapping it the other way, and then eventually he went to his fastball to strike out their, I believe, number 2 hitter, R.J. Hamilton, who had done some damage to ECU this season on a fastball right down the middle, 96 miles per hour. So good to see Jenkins get his 5th save. We continue. I think Rose, he's been good for the most part. Last night, just hopefully an aberration, but we know at this point we can count on Joseph Webb and Sean Jenkins, and then it's just kind of who else is going to step up. Marley's been solid, but he's kind of up and down. Hoagland's been up and down. The bullpen still not the most assured thing in the world, James, but I guess you just got to figure it out from game to game.
The bullpen, especially on the midweek like we're talking about, it's always going to be a bit of a roller coaster. But when you're dealing with as many injuries and stuff that ECU's dealing with in their bullpen and their pitching staff, there's going to be those ups and downs. So I think, you just got to keep going through it. And hopefully, like Philip said, you get to the conference tournament when you get GVK back and all these guys probably healthy, just piece it together those last couple of games. Could finish this one out strong.
Pirates offensively had a really good night. They jumped on Duke in the first inning. Braden Burris leadoff home run. He had hit a ball off of Drew Bryan in Durham to start that game, leadoff triple. Didn't score. This time he made sure he scored a leadoff home run. Jack Herring continues to rake 3 for 5, 2 doubles, 2 RBI, 3 runs scored. Grady Linehan 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, and a double. He was also hit by a pitch twice, so he reached base 4 times. Yes, we'll talk about the bunt next segment. I know we've got some comments about it. Matt Lashley with a 2 for 3 performance had a big sac fly as well. So, the offense right now, I think for the most part, James, Irby's seeing the ball well. He's taking his walks. He's hitting the ball better. He's yet to have many hits to show for it, but I think the offense right now is in a good spot.
Yeah, the offense this last week, really since that, I guess that weekend game versus UTS, even though they lost that series, they still I feel like they batted well out on that Sunday game or whatever game they had all those runs. But yeah, starting last week with UNC Wilmington through the Charlotte series, I mean, outside of Austin Irby, who's, like you said, is now seeing the ball well, I mean, the bats have been electric. And I think once Irby's going to come through, he's going to come through eventually, like he did last year where he got hot towards the end of the year. I think when he comes through, I mean, there's no telling what could happen with this lineup.
ECU is now up to 29th in the RPI, 12th strength of schedule nationally. It's amazing what a difference 1 week can make and one 5-game winning streak can make. I mean, it can go 2 ways. You go down Tulane, you get swept this weekend, you can ruin all that momentum, James. But this team seems to be. I don't have any data to back this up. It always feels like once they shave off the mustaches after Mustache March, which was for a great cause. Obviously, they almost hit their stride in April every year, and now we'll see how they handle business at Tulane. You've got a couple winnable series coming up, Tulane, Wichita State. Not going to be easy, but winnable, and then NC State mixed in there midweek. So they're hitting their stride after some panic, rightfully so, I would say, after a tough week. And I think this is just, I don't know, ECU baseball in the midseason usually gets going.
Yeah, the conversations we had, I mean, compared to 2 weeks ago are a lot different than the conversations we're having now. Really, that last game of the UAB series until the UTSA series, I mean, we were having some big picture conversations.
Yeah.
And I mean, stuff was getting tense in post game interviews, and we were blowing games. But like you said, the best solution to all that, or the best medicine for all that, is just to win. So, and 5-game win streak is going to do it.
I will say I was worried last night when it started to go bad. You know, Wags was supposed to keep the mustache till they lost. Wags did shave Saturday.
What?
Yeah. He was like, I guess said he was tired of looking at it. Wags like, I'm not feeling this mustache. So I told him before the game, like, dude, if they lose tonight, like, it's on you. He's like, I'll grow it back out for the weekend. I'm like, no, dude, you've already ruined it. You've shaved the stash. So if we would have lost last night, nothing on the team, nothing on Cliff Godwin, 100% on Wags. Because I think the opposite mojo happens when Wags shaves the stash. But, hey, you know, he shaved it and we still got the win.
You know, Mike Mullis made a good point on the show yesterday. Like, if you win that Duke game on the road and you don't give away or you find a way to close that UTSA finale, you know, all of a sudden we're talking about a team that's back in, you know, top 25 consideration, given what they've put together over these last what would have been 2 weeks, because then you would have had a 3-1 week on the road. It just shows how fine the line can be. But that also is just kind of baseball at the end of the day. And it shows they're playing better, James. And I do like that they, you know, Friday, against Charlotte, they come from behind after a poor Norby start. And then yesterday, like, Duke had the momentum, but ECU responded and closed it out. So, like, I mean, that's a sign of a team maturing as well.
Yeah, and I think, and like you said, maturing is the word I would use, because that game last week versus Duke, or 2 weeks ago versus Duke, and the UTSA game where they blow it, and then the following week you have UNC Wilmington where they're up the whole game. It looks like they could blow it. They have a big bottom of the eighth or whatever they had, put up that sixth spot, and they hold on to win that game. And that's just, I mean, they matured that. I mean, it shows a lot in that 1 week. And then you had the same situation with Charlotte where they come back last night. Another situation looks like they could blow it again, and they don't. So to me, it just shows a lot of growth for this team in a really short time span, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Pirates now 21-12-1, 15-6 at home, and they'll go on the road with their 4-6-1. We'll get Corey Glore. We're either going to get him on tomorrow, or I asked him if he can't come on, the voice of Tulane baseball, to at least send me 3 things I need to know about Tulane baseball. So we'll see if ECU can get over the Corey Glore curse down in New Orleans, but we'll preview that series more Thursday and Friday. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll continue on. We'll talk some more ECU baseball. Got a comment about the bunt, so we'll discuss that and get into a little bit more of the X's and O's, so to speak, of last night's game after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh! In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors.
The Pirates play here.
Time to play the game!
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. Big win for ECU last night. 5 in a row, 8-6 victory over the Duke Blue Devils as they get some revenge. So, obviously, one of the main stories on the Hoist the Colors message boards and online Twitter was Grady Linehan bunting in the 7th. Bases loaded, 2 outs. ECU, I think, was up 7-5 at the time. And, there was a lot of talk about, why are we doing this? With our hottest hitter, he was 2 for 2, had reached base twice via hit by pitch as well. Like in the chat, Spencer says I had to walk around the house and cool off a minute after Cliff tried to bunt Grady with the bases loaded, 2 outs. With Grady, there's a good chance he could have cleared the bases with 1 swing. Brian Wallace says, thanks, Igo, for taking one for the team, asking about the bunt. So I figured Cliff Gobbin, who I have a great relationship with, would, I don't know if not appreciate the question was the right phrase, but I knew he would be ready for the question. But I still had to ask it because a lot of people are like, did Grady do this on his own? Was this a call play? So let's hear Cliff's response, and we'll break it down and give some thoughts on it. Philip, I think you got that queued up ready. Just Grady, was that a play you put on? Was that
it was absolutely, I put it on. And for everybody that's got a daggone question about it, the third baseman's in left field, okay? There's 9 defenders out there, so you can smoke a ball and it can go right at him. If you bunt the ball, he's safe and it's an RBI. So it's just like I told Braden Burrs when we were at UTSA and nobody wants to take 3-1. Well, Braden smokes a ball at the right fielder, and the freshman at UTSA, he's struggling for command. Is he going to throw 2 fastballs in a row for a strike? Probably not, but I let Braden swing and he lines out. That's the thing about baseball that you guys don't understand. I say you, the fans, everybody, there's 9 defenders. It's like goaltending in basketball. So you can't goaltend in basketball, but you can goaltend in baseball.
You can goaltend in baseball.
We know now the goaltending is legal in baseball. So, by the way, Brian in the chat says I think James should have asked this, as we got James Giglio, who was on the other end of a post-Duke rant after ECU lost that game in Durham. But, hey, at least they won this time. All right, so multiple thoughts here. I understand what Coach Gobbin is saying. And, Coach Gobbin knows a lot more about baseball, been a lot more successful than I have at winning college baseball games. And he's basically saying, look, the odds, if you put down the bunt on the ground with Linehan's speed and the way the infield was playing, it would be an RBI single, and the run would score and make it an 8-5 game. I mean, my pushback would be we've seen Linehan struggle at times to get the bunt down, period. And with the heater he's on, he's just as likely, to me, to smoke a ball and find grass or to hit it over the fence and end the game with 1 swing. And obviously, if he gets the bunt down, it looks like a smart call. He didn't, so people question it, and we're talking about it. ECU still won the game, but could have ended it maybe a little earlier with a big hit there. So, I understand what he's saying too. Like, you can smoke a ball in baseball and it still be out. But I mean, this is just my belief. I'd rather have my hitter swing and try to do damage. And if he lines out, he lines out. But he also has a good chance at putting the game away there too. So just a difference in philosophy, which doesn't make it right or wrong. Just my take on it.
Yeah, I think there's both. I mean, I think both ways to look at it can be right in their own ways. I think what Cliff's saying though, I think they're honestly trying to get too cute with it. I think when they do that with the whole bunting thing, I don't mind if we let our 7, 8, or 9 guy bunt, but I do have an issue with letting Linehan try to bunt in a situation like that. And the same would go with Braden Burrs. I know he said Braden Burrs did the same thing and lined out or whatever, but I'd rather have that than what Linehan did popping up to the catcher. And like you also said, though, if it does work, he looks like a genius, but it didn't work. So I think in that situation, and obviously I'm not like this baseball expert, right? So I think Linehan in the future should be able to go up there, bases loaded, 2 outs, let him do his thing. Swing, clear the bases, home run. And if he lines out or he strikes out, you can live with it.
You ended up getting the same results, obviously, because he didn't execute the bunt. And, it's one thing if it's like Sabater and they're playing that way. And Linehan is, I tweeted earlier in the day, he's beautiful to watch run the bases. Like, I mean, the dude is a menace on the base.
He can fly.
He can fly. So if he gets the bunt down, it's a hit. But how many times have we seen him now struggle in that scenario, Philip?
That's my thing with this. Everything that Cliff said makes sense, right? We went back and watched it 5 minutes before we went on the air. The dude was one step off the outfield grass. Also, Braden did smoke the ball and the kid, right at the kid. But first at bat of his career, bunt, pop up. Another at bat, 3-4 weeks ago, crucial situation, bunt, pop up. It's fair to say Grady Linehan's probably the worst bunter on the team. And, when a guy's on a heater, my philosophy would be let him swing away. I understand it, though. He let Burr swing away. I mean, he's got a little PTSD from that. So, like one of you guys said, I think, Steven, it's different philosophies. I get either one. I don't have a problem with it. The thing is, though, the fans do want to know. They're donating money to your program. That's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not, and I think at times, and I don't want to speak for Cliff, but I think at times he thinks we're questioning his decisions. I think we just want clarity on, all right, you guys called this. Why did ECU put this play on? Was this Grady trying to do? Because at times players will bunt on their own for a hit if they notice the infield back. But he did, check the wristband. So I was just making sure that it was a play Cliff put on so we could discuss it rather than speculate.
I think it's also fair though to question. Maybe not question his decision making all that, but I mean, in a situation like that, I think it's fair to ask, why would you do that?
Right.
So it's not asking him a personal attack. It's seriously, we want to know, and the fans want to know, what was the thought process behind that call. So I think it's honestly fair I think it's fair in that situation to question his decision making. Yeah. If it's his decision.
I think you just got to remember, sports are entertainment. It's for the consumer. Yes, it's their livelihood. I get that. But the consumer's donating money, and the only return on investment they get is wins. And yeah, you won, but still, it's part of it.
Other comments here from the chat. Brian says, I understand the scenario, but how many times does one player have to pop out a bunt before we swing? Quote, if he swings and gets out, I can understand why he told him to swing. It's hard to swallow why we keep trying something that isn't working. I guess he's going to keep doing it until it works. Johnny Robertson says, Grady leads the team in sacrifice hits with 5. I don't recall any of them being bunts, though. I know he's at least, I think he's gotten at least one bunt down that ended up being a hit, but he definitely has struggled at times getting it down. And the guy on the mound had pretty good stuff, which probably played a role last night.
I just don't bunt your best players in that spot.
Nicola says, I don't mind the safety squeeze call. It's the belittling of the fans saying you guys don't understand. So,
well, that's a whole separate issue.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things, and Cliff knows a lot more baseball than all of us. But it's we still know the game as well, and that's why we're questioning. I didn't have a problem taking Towers out because he's coming off arm surgery and he's thrown the most pitches by more than double digits that he's thrown all year. So I understand. If people don't understand that, then they're probably not as familiar with pitching injuries, pitch counts, all that.
And that's a decision that's a situation where you don't have to question Cliff's decision making, because that one's more understandable, right? Because he's coming off pitching arm surgery.
No doubt. And the main thing here, Pirates get the win, but I did feel it was worthy of discussion. And the other thing too, Colby Wallace tried to sack bunt the next inning, and I was okay with that. I mean, you're up by 1 run. He didn't get it down, and then he doubles. So, the process wasn't great. The result was obviously more than you hoped for. But, if he would have got the bunt down there in a 1-run game, you're playing for an insurance run, I would have totally been cool with that. It just so happened that 0-2, he doubles. So, baseball is a funny game.
It is a funny game. We're talking about a funny game. At the end of the day, that's what we're talking about, sports, just baseball.
Yep. All right, so good discussion there. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We may touch on some Major League Baseball. Begrudgingly for me and Philip Pilkington, as our teams continue to have some of the worst records in the league, although the Red Sox did get a win yesterday. The Mariners have lost 4 straight 1-run games. I think James's Yankees are doing pretty good. We'll discuss that. NBA, NHL, college basketball. James still can't get a national champion correct either, so all that on the way.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, It's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here on a Wednesday. We got James Giglio in studio, Philip Hilkin behind the glass, intern Isaiah hanging out as well. He was in the press box last night covering and questioning the umpire strike zone just as much as I was because that was bad. But anyways, we made it through. And we're here now. Let's get the unfortunate out of the way, at least for me. We'll talk MLB first. And it's very fortunate for James, one of the things he'll be most excited to talk about. So your Yankees are 8-2. My Mariners are 4-8. They've lost 4 consecutive one-run games, which is absolutely disgusting. They still are acting like a spring training. The Red Sox are 3-8, so they're still worse than the Mariners and have the worst record in the entire league. How about the Rockies, 5-6?
I know.
There's some teams that are not like the Angels.
Yeah.
What is the Angels' record?
The Angels are 6-6.
They haven't not been bad. Joe Adele's been like the best player in the league so far.
That was crazy, man. Rob's 3 home runs in a 1-0 game to beat Seattle.
By the way, your tweet was legendary, Steven.
Angels in the outfield?
Yeah, on Easter.
I feel like it didn't get enough love.
Wait, what was it? I didn't see it.
Should have seen this coming. Angels in the outfield. On Easter weekend, Robin, three home runs.
He had a home run on Monday night, Adele.
And look, I'm hoping that this is just typical Mariners. They start slow every year and then pick it up. But what do you make of MLB thus far, James?
I'm on cloud 9. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that because every year the Yankees do this. They'll start hot, and then there'll be a 1 month or a couple week stretch, or someone will get hurt. Someone's slumping and we lose, we blow a game to the Angels when we desperately need a win, and then we'll lose 6 in a row. Everyone's calling for Boone to get fired. I just know how this plays. I've seen this movie before. I know how it plays out. But right now I'm going to enjoy it, and I enjoy Ben Rice looking really good. I enjoy Schlittler or I'm not going to even try and mess his name up.
It's so hard, man.
So everyone's playing well. Judge, starting to pick it up. Stanton's been playing well. I have no complaints. And on top of that, I get to watch the Red Sox be the worst team in the MLB, and I get to watch Roman Anthony suck it up in the outfield, stink it up in the outfield. So
the Blue Jays have lost 6 in a row. They got swept.
That's also awesome
by the White Sox.
Yes, this is a revenge tour for me.
The Mariners have lost 4 in a row. Those are your 2 ALCS representatives from last year. Phillips, Red Sox struggling. Philip, here's our discussion. At what point do we like I'm not panicking yet. I'm annoyed. I'm ticked off. But at what point do we start getting actually concerned about our teams? It's still April 8th.
Yeah, I think, and so James and I were texting about this. All my days were run together yesterday, I think. Maybe it was Sunday night. And he asked me a similar question. And I think it comes down to if your team just looks like they're not showing any flashes of being good and you're seeing the same problem reoccur, it's time to panic. When you just see early in the season inconsistencies, it's early in the season inconsistencies. Boston said it when they were 2-7. The one thing I'll give Craig Breslow is he comes on the Nesson broadcast once a series and is brutally honest. He doesn't hold back. And he was like, look, with the way we've played, are we happy? No, but also if this exact same 2-7 stretch happened in mid-July, nobody would bat an eye other than the actual fans. It's just out there for the whole world to see because it's a 2-7 in the standings column. So I think with Boston, man, the approach was bad early. Now they've got good plate approaches, and their pitchers had one kind of time bad through everybody kind of had a bad second outing. So I don't know. I'm not panicking yet. Like I said, I'm more just ticked off at the lack of production. But at least my team seems like they care, Steven. I think you've got a little different view on it. Your team just looks like they're in mid-season form.
They are just out there going through the motions, man. And I get that it's hard to show energy and vibes when you're not hitting the baseball. Seattle leads the league in pitching WAR, and they're 4-8. So the pitching's doing what it always does. It's dominant, and they just can't score runs. And Josh Naylor, Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh are doing terrible. Randy Arozarena also falling off. The only guy hitting is Cole Young, who's a second-year player, and Brendan Donovan, who are the last people I expected to hit this well this early. So I don't know.
Were the Mariners cursed by Cal Raleigh not shaking Arozarena's hand?
Maybe they need to shake some more hands to reverse this curse.
That might be the curse.
Yeah, that's the one thing that does concern me is that
some chemistry issues.
There were some bad vibes going into the season. Now it's not off to a good start. And Dan Wilson is not the most rah-rah manager. He's just kind of out there going through the motions too. So there's just no juice right now. I'm hoping it changes. But
Philip, no words on Roman Anthony?
No, I'll speak on it. Look, there's a reason he's playing left field for the Boston Red Sox. I can tell you that. The tough thing right now is you got to get him in the weight room. You got to have him bulk up. The thing is, moving to DH would be the mindset. You got 3 really solid defensive outfielders, but then if he's DHing every day, Masahiro Yoshida's out of the lineup, and Yoshida's been probably the most consistent plate appearance guy on the team. Yes, he started the season 0 for 10, but his on-base percentage at that time was .375 because he had drawn 6 walks. And most of his outs, he just squared a ball up and hit him right at somebody. So, and now that he started hitting, his on-base percentage is almost .500. So, you can't really take him out of the lineup. So, hey, 21-year-old kid, it's part of it. You're going to have time. He's got a lot of time to grow, but he's going to have to figure it out or buy a big mitt and learn how to play first base, I guess.
So you don't think it's definitely not injury. You think it's just the yips? Or just
yeah, I think it's the yips.
All right.
Nikolai says someone made a compilation video of Roman Anthony throwing to home plate. He threw a 3-hopper from shallow left on more than one occasion. So
yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know if it's the yips. I think he just needs to start juicing.
Yeah,
like the old days.
Yeah.
Just don't get caught like jerks in Profar. Speaking of, Spencer says Braves dug themselves that 0-7 hole last year that was difficult for them to get out of. Doesn't leave a lot of room for error moving forward. Yeah, Braves playing solid baseball. Also playing solid baseball. Gavin Williams yesterday, 5 2/3, 1 run, just 1 hit, solo home run allowed. He did walk 5, struck out 8 though. So when he doesn't walk anybody, he's dominant. He can go deep into games, but yesterday only pitched into the sixth because of that walk. But Guardians playing good baseball. They're 7-5. They beat the Royals 2-1. So there's your MLB check-in. On the NCAA front, James Giglio, another year where you don't pick the correct champion, James, which is you've never done in your life.
No, I've been doing it since I was 8 years old in 2013.
He's got all of them written down.
And I have them all written down. I keep track of it every year, who they lose to, how they lost. The first year, 2013, I picked Michigan, and they actually lost the national championship. That was the closest I've ever gotten. I've never had a team make it to the championship game since then.
In 2018, where did you have Villanova losing?
2018,
a lot of people did pick Villanova.
I think I picked Kansas, and I think they made the Final Four. I don't know what I like.
They did make the Final Four. They beat Duke in the Elite Eight on the Grayson Allen.
There's some years where I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, there's some years, like looking back at this one, I'm gonna be like, what was I thinking? The one that always gets me is 2024 UConn. Like, that should have been the one I had. Like, I can't believe I didn't pick them. I picked UNC. Like, what was I doing?
And this year you had Arizona, which I had as well.
I'm gonna look back and be like, why did I not pick Michigan? It's gonna
you said, dude, Arizona really was the best team all year, though.
It was a good pick.
It's not a bad pick.
I feel like I'm going to look back and be like, it was pretty obvious. But like last year, I can't get mad. I picked Duke last year, and I think they were the best team all year, so I can't get mad about that one.
I say that this year just because I picked Arizona as well. So except for in our work pool, because I did two brackets. I said my Arizona was my big one. That was on a higher money league, but there was only one person in the IBX Media work pool that picked Michigan, baby. Mic drop.
I think I still need to pay you for that, by the way. So
do you? All right, you give me $10.
Yeah, remind me of that.
Thanks.
I should have just not said anything, but I'm a man of honor over here, and I will pay Philip Pilkinen for his work. So the national championship, it was just kind of a meh game.
It was whatever. It got good.
You've been to the Final Four. I want to ask you,
yeah.
How are the sight lines? You went in Arizona?
Mm-hmm. I went 2024, and it was a good – I've seen a lot of people, before I get to that, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, like, Arizona's the worst, like all these ranking, like the Final Four locations, saying Phoenix is like dead last in all of them. I didn't think it was bad at all. I haven't been to any of the other ones. But actually in the stadium, it does get a bit weird with like being played on a football field and you're pretty much at level no matter how hard you go up. Luckily for me and my brother just like kind of like snuck down, I guess, close as we could get. And it was still like, I mean, we were closer and it still felt like you're far away. So, I mean, I don't really see, I'm glad I went, but I don't really see the draw. Like if ECU made the Final Four, I'd go, but I don't really have any like, it's not like something I'm like, yeah, like that's something you got to get checked off your bucket list.
I was going to say, I have a lot of things on my bucket list sports related. One of them would be probably going to the Masters, which is this weekend. But like Final Four, I don't think it's up there. Like, I mean, I would go if somebody offered me free tickets, but like, I'm not gonna pay a bunch of money to go to the Final Four.
Yeah,
maybe I'd feel different.
It was something I was glad I made it, and I'm glad I went. But it's like I said, and that's also up there with like speaking of sports bucket list. That's also up there with the Super Bowl. I have zero interest in going to the Super Bowl. I think the Super Bowl is best watching it on TV. Plus, the Super Bowl is so expensive.
I'd rather go to the AFC or NFC Championship game than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, the tough thing, I think there was a time, dude, the Super Bowl 10, 15 years ago was the top of my bucket list. No questions asked. But I think it was a little more intimate back then. I think it's just turned into too much of a clown show now. It's too
don't get Philip started on his
it's too much
corporate.
It's too corporate. Yeah, the whole thing's corporate. Most of the people that are there are not even fans of either team. You know, the Final Four, it's the same thing, man. You know, a long time ago I kind of wanted to go, but now it's like, I mean, I even think the students who are standing down on the court, down on the, you know, in the end zones pretty much behind the goals can't even really see anything. Like, unless you're like the first row behind the dudes at the mid-court of the scores table, like, what are you doing?
It is also pretty weird. Like the student setup, you mentioned that they're like one of the sections, like you're in the end zone, but one of the sections is like cut in half basically by like the CBS like broadcast desk where they do the halftime show. So,
oh yeah, that makes sense.
That was also weird. Like I noticed that when I went, like one of the students, I don't remember whose student section was like closest to me, but I remember we sat on that side, and like they half their sections pretty much just covered. Like they get half of what the other team gets because it's covered up.
Am I wrong for? Maybe I'm just biased because I'm like I was raised a baseball person, but I'd rather go to the College World Series than like the Final Four. I would rather go to Omaha. Am I wrong for saying that?
I would. I mean, I've been to both, but so I don't. I think Omaha.
You've been to College World Series?
I have, yeah. When they went and when someone went, when State went, I went with my parents. But It was like I would describe it as like I think it'd be cooler if I was older.
Yeah.
So I mean, because like the whole festivities with like the Jello shots and doing whatever downtown. I think it would have been cooler if I was older. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't really give like a strong take on it, but it was like a cool experience. It's like, and plus the festivities to do it the same with the Final Four with all the other teams and all the fans that go out there and support their schools. But yeah, I think that the Masters, which is pretty much impossible to get a ticket to. The World Series, I think, would be cool to go to. At least
World Series would be
the thing is with the World Series and the NBA Finals that it gets weird is that they're series, so you can only go to realistically can only go to one game.
I've already started to try to look at if the Nuggets make a deep playoff run, either going to the Western Conference Finals or NBA Finals, but that's TBD. So.
Yeah, that would be fun. I've been to an Eastern Conference Finals for hockey, and that was pretty electric. But, I do want to ask you one question, James. I know you said it's kind of hard to judge, but just being at the game itself, was there more intimacy, at least at the College World Series, than there was being in a massive NFL stadium?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And that's part of what makes the sports great, right? It's like the intimacy of being there in person. So I think, I'd rather do the College World Series, but over the Final Four.
Well, the College World Series also, and Omaha was cool, but it's also harder to get to, like location wise. Like it's like
it's not an expensive trip.
Yeah, it's not like Omaha. Omaha's like smack dab in the middle of the country.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's harder to get to. Yeah.
Omaha. But the other thing though too, let's bring up. It used to be really cool back in the heyday of the ACC tournament when it was in the Greensboro Coliseum every year, and you really walked in and there was like each team had a crap ton of fans there, and the only way you could get tickets was if you were a high up donor, or if you stood outside and waited for a team to lose, and you could buy the tickets off the fans coming out. Like that, the intimacy of the old school ACC tournament was awesome. It's not the same now, but yeah, I went in 2010 for the first time, and that's not even as intimate as some people went back when it was only 3 days, but still, like, there was so much nostalgia being at the ACC tournament back in the day.
So, another sporting event I just thought of that I would like to go to, Kentucky Derby.
Yes, I have not been, but I've heard people that have gone, and they say it's insane.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool.
That's my mom's number one, and she knows nothing about horse racing. She's just like, I want to buy a big hat and go because it looks fun.
It looks awesome.
Spencer Scott, one person on my side. He says Omaha greater than Final Four, and seeing 8 different fan bases take over Omaha and Charles Schwab is one of the best sporting events. Ton of games, too. So, good discussion. This is the best part about having Giglio in studio, which talk about random stuff, and today we talk bucket list items. We'll have to do that for a summer show as well, maybe more formal.
Yeah, that's a dog day show.
Yeah. All right, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. We'll hit on NHL, NBA playoffs around the corner. Are James's Lakers dead, or do they still have life? We'll discuss that and more to close the show.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corolla's $159 a month or Tacoma's $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
Loyal and bold, we're the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho!
And we're back to hoist the colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Final segment here. James Giglio hanging out along with Philip Pilkin and intern Isaiah as well. NBA, quick check in there. The Hornets missed a chance last night. They lost to the Celtics. They could have moved up, got closer to that 6th spot. Instead, they're down to the 9 seed with just 2 games left. I think they have to play the Pistons and somebody really good to close. Maybe the Knicks or Cavs. Can't remember who exactly it is. But either way, they're going to be in the play-in probably, it looks like, and we'll see how that goes. In the Western Conference, my Nuggets have surpassed the Lakers for now for the 3rd seed in the West. They've won 9 in a row. 1 win away from the first 10-game winning streak of the Jokic era, which is crazy. The Lakers are down to the 4, and they're also very injured. So are they dead, James?
Yeah. If we get Houston, maybe not, but I've lost a lot of hope. Speaking of the Nuggets, though, I wanted to ask you about this since we didn't talk about it. Michael Malone, UNC.
So at first I didn't like it because it was so random, but I do think it is a better fit than I initially thought. I said earlier this week, I don't like the process that UNC had, and I don't think they wanted to end up here, but I think Michael Malone might actually have some success there. It's weird on the surface, but he is a fiery guy. He is a culture guy. He's a motivator. He needs some X's and O's help, and he needs just to learn college basketball, which is my biggest concern.
I was just wondering because, you were on the train when he got mysteriously fired from the Nuggets, but all the Nuggets fans were like, thank God he's gone.
There were some major locker room problems.
Yeah.
And he did help mold that team and that unit into a championship team, but then the egos became too big in the locker room, and he still wanted to coach them the hard way that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And the NBA, the players aren't going to listen. So I think if he does get the right guys in there, he can motivate and build that culture. So we'll see.
It just felt like a very Bill Belichick-esque hire to me.
I thought so too initially, and then I'm like, but Belichick is more just X's and O's and kind of just my way or the highway, whereas I feel like at least Malone he'll be able to relate to these guys a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Interesting to say the least. The NBA, are you still excited for the playoffs?
Yeah, I usually like the NBA playoffs because that's when everyone actually tries and there's no load management and the officiating is not as strict. I've always been a big NBA playoff guy, even though it does take forever. I'm a big fan that the first round series should be 5-game series.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that.
In the NHL, your Bruins are going to be a wild card team, it appears, Pilk. So who will they play in the first round? I'm unfamiliar with the NHL playoff system now.
Yeah, so if they end up the 8th seed, they would play the highest division champion. So as of right now, that would be the Carolina Hurricanes. If they end up the 7th seed to set the first wild card, they would play the second highest division champion, which right now, the Atlantic has a 3-way tie for that spot at 102 points between Tampa Bay, Buffalo, and Montreal. And technically, if all those teams go 0-3 the rest of the way, and the Bruins are 0-4 because they each have 4 games left, and the Bruins go 3-0, they could actually end up in a 4-way tie for first place. Not sure how those tiebreakers work. It'd go based off regulation wins. Not sure who has the most regulation wins, but yeah, they're gonna be a wild card. Looks like the 7th seed. So kind of hoping Carolina rests their players late. We get to play Carolina in the first round. So I go to a Bruins playoff game. It's been 3-4 years since I've gotten to see the Bruins play a playoff game. So.
That would be pretty fun, indeed. And they at least hung with them a little bit last night to give you some hope. Yeah, I tried to get into the Kraken. They beat the Hurricanes a few weeks ago. They have just fallen apart. They've lost 6 in a row, and they're well out of the playoffs now. In the Western Conference, the Avalanche have been incredible all year. They're going to be the top seed. The Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild also having good years.
So might as well just ride with the Avalanche.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I'll be on the playoff bandwagon.
Dude, get on the playoff bandwagon. Kel McCarr's a different guy in the playoffs. He's so physical. This team is really physical, built for the playoffs. It's going to be a fun run. Even if you don't, totally celebrate the wins. I know you don't want to jump on the bandwagon. Like, they're still fun playoff team to watch. Yeah, do it.
I just need a rooting interest for the NHL.
Is there, Philip, I'm not the most knowledgeable hockey guy, but the President's Cup is when they're the top seed, right?
President's Trophy. Yeah, it's just given to the.
But there's a curse, right? At the top, like the team doesn't ever win it.
Yeah, there is. It's been the Blackhawks did it in one of their 3. They're only the only team in the last 20 years to do it.
Okay, that's what I thought. And the Avalanche look like they're going to win it, so I was just.
They will win it. Yeah.
So this time next week, we'll be right on the cusp of the playoffs for NHL and NBA. James, appreciate you, my man.
Yeah.
And Philip, intern Isaiah as well. We are out of time on this Wednesday. We'll be back Thursday. We'll hear from Corey Glore in some capacity via written message or phone to preview the Tulane series, and we'll talk more Pirate athletics as well, some spring football too on a Thursday. We'll see you then on Hoist the Colors.